Alright, so now we're working on our mixing of colors, and we're going to be playing with our tints, tones, and shades. We are working with a different material. This material is a tempera paint, much like acrylic, except acrylic is a little more permanent, has plastic in it, or acrylic in it, and tempera is based on an egg base. But I wouldn't eat, no eating. Yuck. Okay, so we have a white and a black, which are neutrals. And if we take white and black, of course, let's take some white and take another brush, a bit of black. By the way, black goes a long way here, so I'm just going to put a tiny bit over here. And blend these two together. Just going to make my third neutral. This is a very light gray. If I want to make a darker gray, then I just need to add a little more black, which is easy enough to do. I'm not sure if I'm happy with how dark it is. So I've got my black, my white, and my gray. Now, this is what we're basically doing. We're going to go make tints, tones, and shades of all of our primary and secondary colors. So yellow, red, and blue are the primaries, purple, green, and orange are the secondaries. And if you look right here, I have them exactly across from each other, just like they would be on the color wheel. The yellow and the purple, which are the complementary, red and green, and blue and orange. And I know this purple is looking a little blue in my camera, but it is definitely purple. Maybe when I mix it, this is an old one that I'm using right here, maybe when I mix it, it'll show up better. Alright, now what we're going to look at, we did do this. This was the other assignment. We just finished that one. So we've done some color theory. So you have learned about the neutrals. And what we're going to do is we're going to actually complete an actual paper here. But oh, there it is. I took it away. There we go. Okay, it's back. All right, so we're going to do white, and I am working with a bunch of brushes. I don't like to sit down without at least 3 or 4 brushes, different sizes. And so what I'm going to be able to do without having to wash my brush right now is I can go into a color, and the one I'm going to grab here is red. So I can go in and grab some red out of my pure color over here, and it's very, I got a whole tub of it here. It's a little thicker, and notice it is not, this is not going to be translucent. This is a color that is not translucent. Alright, so we're going to take this color. So white plus a color equals a tint. Okay, so you will do your little notes up here, and you'll do this one just for the first thing. Take a little white here. So white plus a color. So white plus a color equals a tint of that color. Alright, so I'm mixing it together. If I want that color to be lighter, I can add more white. There's a tint. Okay, so you're going to do this down here also. So I want you to start up here, though, so you're thinking about what you're actually doing. And then when you get down here, you're going to take your pure color and you're going to put it into this spot. And the idea is, these paints are so opaque that when you do it, you can actually paint over my black lines. And this is also why my lines are not perfect. I like them to be a little squiggly. They are paint smooches. Smooshes. Oh, that's a real word. I just made that up. There. There's my pure red. Alright, and then we're going to go with that tint I just made. So I just made this tint. This is a pretty tint. tint. You would never say that you have a shade of pink because this is not a shade, it is a tint. Now if I want my tint to be lighter, I add more white. If I want my tint to be darker, I add more color. Do not go into black. That would be a bad plan. That will mess up what you're doing. So there is my second tint of red. All right, now I'm going to play with. Now, since I already have red and white, then I could jump right over and play with the idea of just a little bit of black in this would actually give me a gray, right? Because white and black make gray. If I've already got white here, all I need is a touch of black. So grab a little black. And again, the black goes a long way. Put it right there, and then I'm going to move it into this. So black, red, and white, which is basically gray, into that color. And this is a tone. If I want it to be darker, I can add red, which changes it. I can even add a little bit of black. If I want it to be darker, lighter, I can add more white. And it's not showing up very nicely in the camera that I can tell, but we're going to hopefully it'll work. It will definitely, if you'll do what I do, you'll be fine. The camera is not picking up as nicely as your eye will, and when you mix your own and you just follow my technique, you'll be fine. Alright, so the next step is to do a shade. Now a shade is black plus a color. So I'm going to take black plus the color red, and you're going to have a shade. So here we go. We're going to do, alright, black and the color only though. So I cannot get any white in it. No white. So it's got to be all pure color. I'll put it up here. Only red and small amount of black. Okay, so I don't want too much black because black goes a long way again. But here we go. When I mix that in, oh, it's dark. It's so dark. Okay, so now I can barely tell that that is a red. So what do I need to do? Well, I got so much black in there, and you saw how very little I used. That's a shade, and they look almost exactly alike. So I'm going to put it here. Okay, so that is too dark a shade. So what do we need to do? Well, we can't go anywhere near white because that would make a tone. So the only way to make this lighter is to add more red, which is what I'm going to do, a big old blob of it. So you're going to make a tint, a tone, and a shade of every color. Now you should be able to see that as a cardinal. That's what I would call that, or a brick red, maybe. Alright. When you have done all of your tints, tones, and shades of each of your colors, which is basically exactly what I've done, remember it's white plus a color makes a tint, gray plus a color makes a tone, and black plus the color makes a shade. When you have done all of your colors, There might be a point where you have more or extra color. In this case, I do have a lot of red, because that's what I've been working with. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down here to these forms. I'm going to move this up so you can see the forms. Alright. Now this form right here, the triangle, I want it to be painted purple. I'm going to actually dictate to you that I want that purple, and I want the background yellow with a cast shadow of yellow. Again, if the table is yellow, then the cast shadow would be yellow. Okay, so this is going to be purple, which is our complement is yellow. So I'm actually going to take this ball right here, and I'm going to decide that I want to make it actually red. And so I'm going to start right here with a pure hue, the pure color, and I'm going to put that in the middle. Now I have lines there, and you can work with those lines. They're going to help you to curve it, because that's important. But you don't necessarily have to be perfect. Now I am going to grab some of this. I want a little more tint, so hang on. I'm going to grab a little white. I want an actual tint. So I'm going to mix into that, and then I'm going to bring the tint here. And the idea is to get rid of the black line. So I am now blending these two together. And I want it to be a little more opaque. If you can see the letters, the words, then you don't have enough paint there. And it may be that you have to go back over and paint again. You may have to do a second coat. But the idea is I do not want to see the letters. And this one says white, and that's just reminding you to make sure it's the lightest point. So I can go in here with the tint that I'm working with, adding the white to it and swirling around here. And I've got my little highlight on that ball. And now I'm moving into what would be the core shadow. We have learned about this. We did that when we were playing with this, the spheres with our colored pencil. And now we're playing with paint. So I'm going to take the pure color again, and I do want this to go a little darker, so I'm going to go ahead and jump right over here into that shade and add that shade to it. That gives me my nice dark core shadow. Now you remember, the light reflects off the table, bounces back up onto that sphere, so right here I need to go lighter again. So I'm going to take some of the paint out of my brush, go back in with some pure color, pure hue. Clean my brush off, and I'm working with a pretty big brush, but if you're not comfortable, go with a smaller brush. And now I'm blending these two areas together. And now I have a sphere, basically. It's become three-dimensional looking. I can see this little line over here. I'm going to get rid of it. I got a little light, but it's okay. Alright, now the background for the red, right across from it, is green. So if you decide that you want to paint a green sphere, then you can do a red background. But what if you decide to do blue? Well, blue ball, like a blue sphere, would be an orange background. Alright, so I'm going to put some green here. And I'm going to put the green in the background. So pure green right here. And that's the color of my table. this green, all my paints needed to be shook up a little better than I did, and so they're really kind of thin here. They're a little more translucent than I want them to be. So if you find the paint is a little translucent or it's acting up, just add, let's make a tint. I'm just going to change that green and just add a little white to it. It's going to make it a little more opaque, and so I'm just going to do that right in here. Yeah, that's better. It's covering better. So this is my table. And you know, it's not perfect, but here's the cool thing. These paints, I can turn these paints are, if you make a mistake or you go into the form, let them dry a minute, and you can go back and actually, like I crossed over that line, so what? I'll go back and fix it later when I do the pink, the yellow, and not pink. Colors bouncing around in my head. Alright, background. So how do I get that cast shadow? Well, that's supposed to be dark green. So dark green would be done with a black and a green, your shade. So I'm going to take a touch of green and black. And again, very little black is needed. And I'm going to go into the green and darken it. Cast shadow of green with a background of green, and it looks really three-dimensional. And the reason it looks three-dimensional is we have used chiaroscuro to paint it. When you get over here, it does say tint pure hue. If you find that pure hue to be too thin and you're not happy with it, add a little white and go ahead and make that a tone, or you can make it a tint, but a darker tint than that tint. So just use your imagination, use your brain, and you'll be fine. And of course, it's reminding you the shade of the table color. That's supposed to be, if the table color is orange, then it would be a shade of orange, which in our world is kind of cool. Shades of orange actually have a different name, and this is kind of interesting. When you look at orange, we're going to go here. When you look at orange, a shade of orange is perceived as a brown. So, and the shade of yellow is perceived as a green. Our brain, we'll call it that. And this is also why I'm having you do the form in purple. And I want you to try a skin tone. Now, shade, using all the pigments. This is not showing up very pretty on my skin, but this is a normal skin color, and it's just showing, there we go, sorry about that. It's showing that the colors we're mixing are on the hands themselves. And so we're going to do that. This paint will not harm you. And so you're going to play with the idea of making your skin tone. So I'm going to move this up. Alright, and I'm going to play with its skin tone. Now on my paper, here's the skin tone spot. So I got to start somewhere, and what I usually suggest is orange. So we're going to go with orange. That's my beginning color. And because I think it's interesting to go ahead and add a couple more places, I just want to show you what orange will do. Alright, so black into my orange, gray into my orange. Hang on, I almost contaminated my white. Don't contaminate your colors. Don't care how excited you get. Do not put other colors into your white. I almost lost control and stuck a dirty brush into my paint. We all get excited. but it's best to keep enough brushes around that you can quickly use a clean brush and actually get it in that paint and like retrieve it and not have a problem. So there we got black and I got white. So if I take, basically I've got black on the brush, and if I push that into there, I have a beautiful tone of orange. That's black. Hang on. By the way, you should probably tap your brush on the bottom of the cup, which will loosen any of the pigment that's been caught up in there in case there's an extra color that's not cleaning out in your brush. Alright, that's a beautiful tone of orange. We can name it brown. So I can start right here. This is definitely not my skin tone. So if I put my hand here and I put that on there, nope, that's not going to work. But I am going to go ahead and start there. Why not? Okay, that's way too dark. So what do I need to do? Well, I probably need to add some more white. That's doable. Let's do that. And I've got a lot of dirty brushes that I'm trying here. I'm going to go with a lot of white there. Okay, I'm going to put that right here. Okay, so that's not right either. So I'm thinking I could do a touch of blue. Just a tiny amount of blue. So I've got a little tiny amount of blue here. Oh, can't see it. I'll put it over here then. There she is, blue. I'm going to take a little of this blue and add it to my color. My puppy has decided that there's a cat out there, and so he's mad. Alright, so before I change the color though, I just added that one. That one's a little less orange. The blue, it helped. Before I change that color, however, I want to go make sure I put it over here. So I'm going to put that color there. I do think I need to go a little lighter, so once again, I've left my white over here so I can add it to it. Right there. That's not bad. That's not bad. I think I'm pretty close. Now you're going to play with this. I think I'm okay. I think I'm going to go with it. That'll work. We don't have to work too hard at it, but if you end up with your hand fully painted, that happens. It's something that I've been doing a while, so I got there a little quicker. And so when I've gotten there a little quicker, I'm going to put it right here. I'm happy. That'll work. That's my skin tone. Okay? Is it perfect? Well, it's starting to dry there, and it's kind of going invisible. It's right there. I think I'm okay with it. I'm going to let it go. And that's all you have to do. So you're going to do, I would start here and go ahead, and I didn't finish it, so let me finish it. I would go up here, and I would put my gray down. Let's see, I've run out of paint here. Oh, it's drying. This dries wonderfully. You'll love it. Gray plus my color, different brush here. Red. I chose red. You can use any color. Equals, and I have my tone right here. I'll just grab it. That was gray and red and white. I'll put my tone right there so you can see it. But then you're going to do it again. You're going to do it again down here. I don't care what color you pick, but really think it through so that when you get down here, you don't get confused and out of order. Yellow is going to appear to be green. So just trust and not stress. Again, I wish these colors were showing up a little better. And when you're done, your forms will be beautiful. You'll do the best you can. You're not going to get stressed about it. And I think that takes care of it all. Have fun.